What up, Bird?
Yo, Birdman here.
That's Birdman. This is Nick. This is Shaded Sunsets. We talk.
Shaded.
Yeah, we are shaded. We are a couple shady motherfuckers, aren't we? So we talk about when shit gets dark here. We talk about, essentially it's not, we like to talk about, the bounce back after, the long term of once you've done the work or whatever you need to do to get past it. But we want to know exactly how you felt in that moment when something happened. Something fucked up happened to you.
That shit that nobody wants to fucking talk about.
Right.
That nobody wants to admit.
And that could be different for anybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It could be so much as, for somebody it could be a breakup. For, somebody else it could be a neurosurgeon that fucked up the procedure and he just killed somebody. Everybody's reactions are different, but we're trying to cover the whole scale here and trying to figure out like exactly in that split moment in time when you got hit with the reality of what is going on. We want to know how you felt.
Fuck yeah.
When when you can't even fucking comprehend, there is no light at the end of the tunnel at that very second. We want to know how you felt. We want to know how you felt. We want to know the after. I mean, we just want to know everything. So,
because let's be honest, everybody has that. Everybody has
every
that.
single person.
You know what I mean? Dude, I'll be talking to somebody about, those dark moments when you're like, even now, man, I'll drive down the freeway and I'll look, I'll be going over an overpass and be like, what the fuck would happen if I just drove off the side?
I've thought that.
You know what I mean?
I've for sure thought
like
that.
Like little glimpses of darkness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I've for sure thought that.
And everybody has those.
Yeah.
Everybody's got those.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody's got those moments too where something impacts you so hard,
Yeah.
And for the rest of your days, you can relive that moment in its entirety in detail. Something fucked up or something like super joyous, whatever it may be, that heightened emotion,
yeah,
point in your life.
Or you're just trying to get that fresh breath, that breath of fresh air, and you just can't,
Oh,
no matter what.
Feel like you're choking,
Yeah.
drowning.
It's like one fucked up things happens, and then for me, it leads me to notice all these other things that are going on in my life that are not okay. You know what I mean?
For real.
And we'll get into that here in a bit. But yeah, I mean, this is what we're going to do here for now. I'm sure it could gradually change over time. Obviously this is fucking episode 00. So this is just kind of like a trial run, just to see exactly what the fuck's going on.
Testing equipment.
Mm-hmm. Testing the fucking hardware. And just to see, just to see what's going on. I know Bird and I have both, over at least the past 6 months anyways, there's been a lot of shit that we have been through. Like a lot of, defining moments in our lives that like we've been through, that there is a serious fork in the road, if you would, right? And we can either go left or we can go right, and one of those ways is seriously fucked up and the other one is probably much harder than the fucked up way, right? But the results that you get from taking the direction of action and maybe a little bit of soul searching in there to try and improve your life has been so incredibly rewarding for me anyways.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I'm
with that. Starting in February was 2019 now. February 2019, man, was like, and it's not even like an uncommon thing to go through what we went through. You know what I'm saying? Like
not at all.
We were with somebody for a couple of years. We ended up leaving that person around the same time. And it's just, when you get out of something like that and you spend so much time with somebody and you fucking dedicate so much of your life to somebody, it's like, and once that person leaves, it's like, who the fuck am I? Who am I really? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like now you're digging, man, because now a big piece of you just got removed. And you're like, what's going to fill that void? What's going to replace that? And like you said, man, it's two roads. Like I could fill that with darkness.
Yeah.
For sure.
Much easier, I
yeah.
think, than you can fill it with, illuminating all these nooks and crannies in your life.
Oh yeah,
where it's fucked up.
It's almost human instinct to go down that dark road.
Oh, for sure.
First,
I completely agree. I have a friend that I was talking to about it yesterday. Just went through a breakup, and he's already literally went. Where did he go again? When we got coffee?
Who's that?
I don't want to say his name, but we were sitting down for coffee. He was like, "Hey, you guys want to know something fucked up?" He was like, "Yeah, I just broke up with my girl yesterday, and I've already been to a massage parlor."
Oh, word.
Remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So like, it's such a fine line, you know. But I think this is a really cool point in our lives, you know, because you and I went through similar situations, right? But our emotions, right, were completely opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like, we were coming from the exact opposite ends of the spectrum on this.
Word.
Like, you, in my opinion, were ready, right? Or however.
Oh, yeah. I was given a year fucking preparation for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, having all these emotions, you know, and things like that with regards to, you know, like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Where I was coming from the opposite end, right?
Just fucking dropped on your ass.
Yeah. And it took a day to hit me, right? So I went through a breakup, right? Bird and I both went through a breakup. I don't know, probably like 6 months now, something like that. Dave, am I sounding a little fuzzy? Does it keep like
you're
spiking?
Good. No.
I keep hearing fuzz. Okay. Anyways.
It's just your ears, dude.
Okay. Probably.
It's that sexy ass beard.
Yeah. You know? But I went through a, does anybody else hear that?
No.
Okay. Let's just cut like the past 20 seconds. My bad. But when I went through a split, man, it was like the hardest thing. It was like the hardest thing that like I have gone through, and I'm fairly certain that it could have been let's say the first time in my entire life where I was completely broken. I was completely heartbroken, you know, and it wasn't because I had tried to do everything to make this girl, you know, a priority to me. It was purely because I didn't. Right? It was purely because I didn't. And it was because for the first time in my life, I had to bite that pill that I am not as important as I think I am. I'm just another grain of sand on the beach. You know, I am not special. And I was broken, man. You know, it was the first time in my life that I'd had a woman leave me in like a very healthy way, and I mean, as healthy as you can get, I guess. I mean, everybody's definition of healthy would be different, but it just killed me. It killed me because, you know, soon after that, you know, it was crystal clear. What really broke me was that it was crystal clear that she was so much happier without me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, she was.
I got that same thing, man.
Yeah, she was so much happier without me. And granted, like looking at it now, you know, like hindsight's 20/20. Like, thank God she did what she did, or thank God she did what she did, and thank God she did what I couldn't.
Word.
You know.
Word.
Because I was in no place to give her what she needed from me.
Yeah, man. It almost seems like those moments define us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you can remember in detail that conversation.
Yeah.
I sure as shit can.
Yeah.
You know? And that fucking pain, dude. I'm sure, you know, some of the people we'll be having in here can relate to that.
Yeah.
You know, in some way, shape, or form, just that acute moment where, you know, let's say, you know, the neurosurgeon for example, man, we get somebody in here that's done surgery on somebody and that person's flatlined, right? Guarantee you the first time this dude, you know, tried to save somebody's life, you know, via his expertise, and they end up dying, I guarantee you that guy will never forget that day and feel that deep pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to an extent, dude, those moments are what make us grow up.
For sure.
Know? Like you don't see somebody who carries himself so well, who acts so mature, let's put it, and that hasn't gone through some shit like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's I think those moments are what we want to hear about that.
Yeah.
We want to hear about those moments, man. We want to hear about that exact fucking moment that you knew that like she was happier without you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what that felt like and what your mind was going through, and like expand on that.
That exact moment in time when this surgeon is looking at that screen that shows the heartbeat and there's no heartbeat there.
Yeah.
You know, when there was 10 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And
you freeze frame.
And you fucked up.
Yeah.
You fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, we want to know exactly how your head, your heart, your stomach felt. We want to know everything.
Everything.
Right? Because, you know, we could, man, it could go so many different ways, right? Like there could be, for some people, that moment, you know, like we were saying, could be a breakup, right? It could be this surgeon. I have a good friend of mine who is actually on my paintball team, and he did an interview on YouTube, right? We're going to put a link in the description of this video because he's going to be our guest next week, and it's got over like 1.3 million views or something. And he goes in depth and in detail about his combat experience in Iraq, right? And his take on killing and his take on what, let's say, God or religion or lack thereof or in excess of has to do with that. Things like that, right? In that very fucking moment when everything is falling the fuck apart, you know, we want to know how it feels. And then after that, we would like to know, you know, maybe what you got into, if you took that right path or that wrong path post incident.
Word.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And we want in-depth details, and we just like to talk to you, man. So like if you guys have a situation that you feel open about sharing about or anything like that, shoot us a message. You know, shoot us a message on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. We'll get you in here. You know, because people need to understand. I believe that the main point of this podcast and talking about these emotions in the exact point in time, right, is to let other people know is that they are not alone when this happens to them. They are not the only person, right? Like when I went through my split, man. Dude,
you were surrounded by some good people, man.
I was surrounded by some good people, man. Not only did I had to rebuild my life, but before I made the decision to make these changes, right? I was stuck. So I had my friend Marcus come over, and he told me a few things that I could do, right? Number one, start watching motivational videos every day, blah, blah, blah. You know, a whole bunch of shit that would clearly help my life, right? One thing he told me to do was affirmations, right? And say them out loud. So, I don't know, probably like 3 weeks or maybe, 2 or 3 weeks after my relationship ended, I went to the bathroom, right? And I tried to say these affirmations. He told me 3 to do, right? I forgive you for this. I commit to you this, and I love you, right?
Good shit.
Go in the mirror and I say that every day.
Yeah.
Right?
Fuck yeah.
The first time I did it, I went in the mirror and I hocked a loogie in my face. And this wasn't to be dramatic or anything like that, because I firmly believe that if you're being dramatic, I truly believe that, you need to be, there needs to be other people around, to be like blowing things out of proportion or, just being sad all the time or whatever. I was just broken and I fucking hated myself.
Yeah.
I wasn't eating, right? 2 weeks after I split, I had to start this new job and I had to figure out how I could do this without fucking nutrition in my body, which was even more of a deal and just spiked this wave of ups and downs in my daily life because I wasn't fucking eating, bro.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat. I couldn't hold anything. And if I did eat, I would just shit it out immediately. It was fucked up.
Fuck.
You know?
What about sleeping? Did you sleep at all?
Yep. But I had a lot of dreams,
Right.
I had a lot of dreams that would keep the situation fucking fresh in my mind,
Yeah.
And man, it was just, it was the lowest point I've ever been in my life. That was essentially, I think it was on par with, pretty close to getting sober, dude. Cause I was dependent. Oh yeah,
no doubt.
I was codependent.
That's almost worse than a drug sometimes.
Yeah.
Because that fulfills a primal need that really, drugs and alcohol can't really touch.
Yep.
Like on a surface level, on a physical level, even mental, even, emotional for some.
Yeah.
We're talking, that addiction, that dependence, that feeling that you get from getting loaded, from getting high, from getting drunk. To an extent, it fulfills that desire, but we're talking about matters of the heart. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about the deepest depths, man.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing this was probably your first real fucking love.
So here's where I'm at with that, right? I have never been in a healthy relationship, ever, right? I don't know what a healthy relationship looks like. And I'm not going to sit here and blame anybody else, right? Because I've dated, right? I've dated, a few people, and my relationships always end with either them obviously heartbroken or me, right? But there's one common denominator in all these fucking relationships, dude. It's me, and I've women from different walks of life, from different places, right? And bro.
Just never did it right.
I've never done it right. So to your question about like that being my first love, like I've done an extensive amount of work on this, right? And I don't know what the word love looks like. Ooh. I don't know. I don't fucking know, bro. And I'm 28. You know what I mean? 6 months ago, I'm 28 years old. 6 months ago, I was 27. My credit score was like a fucking 450. Right?
Still is. And you still got a small dick.
Yeah, both of those. Credit score's gotten a lot better, which is tight. Yeah, credit score's gotten a lot better. I've bounced around from job to job my entire life. I have been mediocre at many things, but I've been, I think, superior at nothing.
Yeah. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And that's not how I want to be.
Well, that's like a fucking symptom of this fear that we have, like that fear that you had with your relationships, of actually fucking giving yourself, committing yourself fully to something.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I had that same fear, man. This last relationship, the one that we ended almost simultaneously, man, that was the same story for me. It was like, no, just fucking no,
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of these dark moments in my past that I fucking vividly remember that caused me to do that, losing people, fucking walking away from people, fucking, losing friends, losing family members and shit like that. And, it's just, it comes to a point where it's like almost rote. It's script,
Yeah.
Like I don't have any other choice at some point,
Yeah.
I just immediately, when it gets to some point in X relationship with somebody, it's just like, nope, fuck that. I'm out.
Right.
I'm riding this alone. I've been riding this alone. I'm going to continue riding this alone. Right. And this last, this girl that I just left was the same story. And then I just decided, came to a point where I was like, I got to fucking change something.
Yeah.
Because those dark days have fucking defined who I am to a certain extent, right? And whether, it almost seems like I took that bad road, like that dark road. I took that dark road,
Oh, I have
isolated myself, fucking pushed people away.
Yeah.
Like, that becomes the fucking instinct to a degree.
Yeah.
I think the whole situation was harder for me, dude, because I felt like in the heat of the moment, right? It was so hard for me to open up to people about how I was actually feeling, how much I fucking hated myself. I hated myself. I could not believe that over the past 6 years, my life had not progressed. Sure, like in some areas it has, but in a lot of areas it had regressed. It had gone backwards.
Word.
And it took this situation for me, it all fucking hit me at once.
Oof.
It was like, even if I did, crawl and beg her to get back with me, like, what the fuck do I have to offer her? What do I have to offer her?
Oh, yeah.
She wanted to fucking say she wanted to fucking, you know, get out of her apartment and, you know, get a place. Looks like you're going on the lease. 450 credit score. Who the fuck is going to give me an apartment? You know?
Just fucking doomsdaying the whole situation.
Yeah. Who the fuck is
totally.
going to do that? Look, you know, let me take you out on a date. Okay, get in my car with piles of trash in it. You know?
Damn,
Look-
you're just ripping yourself apart. Huh?
Yeah. Go, You know,
Totally.
it's your birthday. It's your birthday. You know, I didn't get her anything for Christmas.
Yeah.
I didn't
Jesus.
because
You're a
because
monster.
it wouldn't fucking matter how much money I made. It was all gone by the time I got paid next.
Yeah.
You know?
Word.
Like I brought nothing. I brought nothing to her, right? And I brought nothing to any relationship that I firmly believe that I didn't bring, maybe not nothing, but just not very much to relationships that I've been in the past, you know? I'm
Yeah.
glad to say sure that now a lot of that has changed, right? Like 90% of that stuff has changed.
And
Right?
I think, well, yeah, absolutely, man. You got an opportunity to actually take a look at that shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I think when these kind of things happen, when, you know, you go through a breakup, when, you know, you're traumatized by some external force, by somebody outside of yourself, when you see something or experience something that really fucks you up, that's really dark, it gives you an awareness of where you stand in relation to the world and where you stand in relation to your ideal. Because, I mean, guaranteed the pain that you felt mostly came from, holy shit, this is me. This is my life. My credit
Yeah.
score sucks. My fucking car's a piece of trash. I got nothing to offer. Like,
Yep.
fuck me, dude. And who would say that you never would have seen that or been aware of that if this didn't happen?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I was so depressed. I was so depressed before, you know, and before the split ever happened, and then even after the split happened, bro, it just made it so much worse. It made it so much worse. Because it was the first time that I had to swallow that pill of like, fuck, man, it's no fucking wonder she left me.
Yeah.
No wonder.
Well, I mean, at least after this thing, you were uncomfortably depressed.
Very.
Or it was like,
It was the most
you know,
uncomfortable
okay.
I've ever been.
yeah, it was like, all right, I've been this way for a minute,
Yeah.
but now I'm gonna make a choice to fucking change this.
Yeah. This was
This is
more
where I'm
uncomfortable
at.
for me than, for obviously, you know, you guys might not know, but I have a problem with drugs and alcohol, right? And this particular situation was more uncomfortable for me than kicking drugs and alcohol, which is immensely uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
But this caused me to take a strong look at like where and how fucked up my life was and how I didn't offer very much to my friendships, which were all surface level, right, and things like that. So I wanted to figure out a way to offer shit to people, you know, and it's caused me to look at things, right? Like, for example, is what we were talking about at breakfast that I wanted to tell you about. Waited until we get here to tell you about. So I play competitive paintball, right? And
he's really goddamn good at it.
and so I care about what people think about me. Some people have the gift of not giving a fuck what people think about them, and I've gotten better about it. You know what I mean? You know, I've gotten a lot better. I've gotten a lot better about letting people's opinions affect me, right? Like I had a good friend of mine come up to me a couple days ago, and he was like, "Hey, man, I heard a couple people saying some things that I wouldn't deem okay about you, and I would just want you to know that I shut that shit down right away and told them I didn't want to hear it." Right?
That's a real road dog right there.
Yeah. And for the first time in my life, I didn't ask who was saying it. I don't care. Right? I don't care. They don't know exactly what I'm doing behind the scenes. Like, dude, I fucking make mistakes, bro.
Sure.
You know?
For sure.
I make some fucked up decisions.
That's how you fucking learn.
Exactly. But this paintball thing, right? So I care a lot about what people think of me. Okay? And this is probably like, I don't know. I started doing the work about what people think about me probably like a month ago, something like that, on and off. And then, but before that, I cared way too much.
Well, let's just note real quick, if there's anybody out there that thinks they don't care what people think about them, you're a fucking liar. I'm just gonna put that
I'd
out
agree.
there right now.
I'd agree 100%. I think that maybe not, you know, maybe not to their faces, you don't care, but you go home and you look at yourself in the mirror and
Just
then,
just
are
that
they
little
right?
bit.
Are
Just
they
that
right?
little bit. Yeah,
You know what I
for
mean?
real. Anyway.
So, I was playing in a tournament probably like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And the point spread to make it to the finals, right, was, or the semifinals, maybe, I don't remember. It was 1 point. Okay. Our record was, I believe, 4-2. 4 wins, 2 losses going into our last game, right? If we ended the day 4-3, we weren't going to make it.
Word.
Okay. So how paintball works, you start out 5-on-5. Okay. Whole idea, you need to get to your bunker without getting shot. So we all do that. Okay. And then all of a sudden I look around me, right? And people on my team are getting shot out of their bunkers. You know, in the sport I play, that's a stupid mistake. The easiest time that you can get shot is when you're on your way in, running as fast as you can, right?
Yeah, because when you're in a bunker, you're behind a fucking
Right. You're
barrier.
behind an object.
Right.
Right. When you're running to it, you're not. Okay. Now, granted, these guns that we shoot are shooting 12.5 balls a second. Okay. So they're shooting really, really fast. And so it came down to it. And it was me and one other guy left on my team versus 2 of theirs. Right. And the time on the clock, in order for us to make this happen, was, I believe, like 1.5 minutes, right? So I talked to him, talked to my friend. I was like, hey, you got to go fucking stick these guys. You know what I mean? I'm all the way on the other side of the field, but we're close enough to talk. And so he does. He goes running down the field, and he gets fucking blasted before he can ever do any damage, right? He gets fucking roasted. And so I'm like, okay, 45 seconds left.
So it's just you left.
It's just me.
Against how many?
2. Me,
Oh.
1, 2, or 1-on-2, right?
That ain't too bad.
Right. And I notice that that these guys are both on the left side of the field. So how I have to score a point is there's a button on each side of the field where both teams starts.
Word.
It's in the very middle of the field, but in the back. It's called the starting gate, right? It's where both teams start from. So I run up there, and I'm like, okay, I can either try and duke it out with both of them, right? Or I can just fucking go for it. Okay. So I make the decision to go for it. And mid-run, I make a secondary decision. I'm like, okay, if I'm horizontal, right?
Yeah.
It would be harder for them to shoot me. It would be harder to shoot a horizontal target, right? That's kind of static, not really moving in the air, right? Rather than legs that are running, standing up, maybe my gun that's in front of me. And so I do that, right? And I feel a paintball hit me in the back. Okay. But it didn't hurt.
Let's not discredit how epic this jump was.
Yeah, it was.
Real quick.
It
was in slow motion. Time slowed down when this happened.
Completely horizontal, right? Baseball dive, kind of. And I felt a paintball hit me in the back, but I knew it didn't break. I knew it didn't break because it didn't hurt enough, right? So I dive in, and I want to, before I tell the biggest part of this story, right? I care what people think of me. I care, right?
I'm judging you right now.
I know. I'm judging myself. Slack probably is too. And
That cat is judging you right now.
he is judging the shit out of me. And I dive in, right? And I touch it, right? Ref comes up to me, he's like, "You're hit." And I was like, "Fuck." You know? I was like, whatever. You know what I mean? I was like, whatever. You know, I didn't make it, right? But then I remembered that the paintball didn't hurt that much, and so I feel on my back, no paint there. Didn't fucking break. And I was like, so I asked the ref, I was like, where am I hit? Where am I hit? Show me, please. Right? I hold my gun up and I do a circle, right? You have to hold your arms up like this so that they can like look at your whole body. And there was no hit there. The ref holds his arms up like this, right? Holds his arms up above his head and crosses them. That signifies a point, right? My entire fucking team on the sidelines lost it. We had made it, right?
Dope.
We had fucking made it. It went a 1-on-2 situation, and like I couldn't remember the last time that like I had a bunch of people like so stoked on something I did.
No shit.
Right?
You're a fucking hero.
Right.
Yeah.
Not exactly. Because we walk off the field, right? And I turn around and I see all the refs in a circle in the field, and I see the other team going to them bitching and moaning and crying and shit.
Oh shit, they're reviewing it, huh?
They're reviewing it, and And I go up to my coach and I'm like, hey man, like, why isn't anybody out there representing us right now? You know, this whole other team's out there crying and fucking being pussies to the refs. Like, why isn't anybody from us out there? He's like, all right, I'll go. I didn't see it. So he goes out there, right? And he comes back and he said that they took it back.
Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
What are they running back they got a booth? They running back the video? What's going on?
Yeah, they I don't exactly know what happened, but they fucking took it back.
Or they take a payment?
And I went
bribe?
I went from being on cloud 9 because I thought that all the fucking attention was on me for making that happen for my team, and everybody was so proud of me, you know,
Word.
to fucking just
Just a pile of garbage.
a fucking pile of garbage.
As if it was all riding on your shoulders from the first place.
Yeah, dude, and like
just a dreadful feeling, man.
yeah. And like, this is one of those things that we were talking about at the beginning, right? Where a situation that's fucked up for me, right, could be way different than a situation that's fucked up for Bird.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's way different, but it hurt. It fucking hurt, and it gave me that same feeling, right, that I had from my breakup, man. Like, no, all right, perfect. Now nobody gives a fuck about me. They're not gonna play me again. This and that, right? And fuck, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's something to hear those stories, man. Because like you'll tell people that story.
Yeah.
You will tell people that story. Anybody that wants to know about it.
Yeah.
You know. But something you won't tell people is like how you thought about yourself after that moment.
Yeah.
How you felt about yourself after that moment. How you felt about the fucking refs, the other team, your team.
Yeah.
You know, all this stuff that just flooded in, like fucking open the gates, man.
Yeah.
You know, let that human condition just fucking ride.
Yeah.
You know, that instinctual, animalistic brain, that reptile brain that just wants to tear the world in two.
Right. It hurt, man. It fucking hurt, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It fucking hurt, dude. And
Fuck yeah.
I figured out, dude, that, you know, through a lot of this work that I've done, that my biggest fear in my life, and I think we should go to break after this, Dave, if that's cool. Sick. I think, after this, or I'm sorry, after the whole split situation, it took me till I was 28 to figure out my biggest fear. Right. And this is something that we can talk about when, you know, we get back to the break, you know, and talk about what Bird's been through and shit. But, my biggest fear is not being inadequate. My biggest fear is not death. My biggest fear is not having a baby, right? My biggest fear that I have in my life is getting left behind, whether it's relationships, friends, job, financially, whatever, right? And
Damn.
yeah, and the reason I say that is because, you know, when my ex and I split, that's how I felt. I felt fucking left behind, you know? But thank God for that whole situation. Looking back on it, hindsight's 2020. Because I felt that the people who were there for me did the absolute best they could to be there for me, given the situation, right? Given the circumstances, they did the best they fucking could, man. Because Bird and I's relationships are kind of extremely similar due to the fact that our relationships, our old relationships, and our old group of friends are so intertwined.
Oh yeah. Interconnected.
Right. Yep. So much.
Both of our ex-ladies still hang out
Yeah.
with our old friends.
Right.
All that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Strange.
there's absolutely, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I was at a point in my life where I needed a little bit more, you know, than, like, I was so fucking broken, man, and I didn't know how to be a grown ass man. Bad with money, bad with relationships, bad with hygiene, cleanliness, you fucking name it, dude. I didn't know what to do. Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to have a laundry schedule. You know what I mean? Like, hey, man,
Or do laundry.
I was like, hey, like, listen, like, before you go and do anything on Sundays, fucking put a load of laundry in.
You know?
Word.
Like,
Well, it's cool, man. It's cool that you say that because, you know, the relationships that we have today are predicated on how can I help you? How can I support you? And I think when we get back from this break, man, we should fucking dive a little bit more into that and, you know, talk about these guests we're thinking about bringing on here, man.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%.
Fuck yeah.
100%.
Let's cut it out.
Yeah, cut it out, dude.
Good evening, my friends. It's Commander Cutie, Mr. Chudsy Wubsy from the Last Week Out podcast, and we've got some exciting news for y'all. Over here at the Last Week Out podcast, we are produced by Slack Media LLC, and they have a special promotion going on right now. If you are a two-legged Homo sapien or a millennial who just had a meaningful conversation and have the urge to put it on the internet, we're just the people for the job. We record, edit, and update and post. Update and post. What the fuck is update? Why did I say update?
You can update stuff.
I guess you can update stuff. Listen, dude, you want to fucking do a podcast? Guess what? We're the ones that can do it for you. We can edit, mix, master, and produce the whole thing, and we can help you figure out, do you know what an RSS feed is? Because I sure didn't when I started this, but because of Slack Media, now I do. So if you have a podcast and you want to get it started and you want to skip all the difficult stuff, go ahead and email slackmediallc@gmail, god damn it, dude. Or you can slide in our DMs at the Last Week Out on Instagram. Get on in there. Love you. Bye.
Welcome back.
Shaded Sunsets.
Shaded Sunsets, episode 0. David's doing
SS up in the house.
Yeah, really questionable things over there, but it's all good.
Good God.
Baby.
All right,
I feel like this whole
3, 2, just kidding.
and 1. I feel like this whole fucking podcast is already questionable as it is, dude. So
Tight. I'm down.
I think we're doing something right.
I'm fucking down.
So yeah, you know, just to give you a recap of where we left off, I just went, you know, these past 6 months was a really hard time in my life, right? Really different time, really uncomfortable time because of a very defining situation that I went through. But Bird went through a situation just like that, but the craziest shit was that he was at the opposite end of the spectrum that I was, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, we kind of crossed paths at the same time, man. You know, with the same kind of shit going on in our life. And you know, just to let you guys know, man, I do want to talk about that traumatizing shit that I just took in the bathroom down the hallway.
You little stinker.
That's gonna change my fucking life, man. Let me tell you what. But so, yes, we're crossing paths, right? We you know, Nick and I our fucking relationship is almost, you know, our friendship is like, it's defined by the pain that we went through at the same time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And like, it's crazy, man, because we never really kicked it before that, because, you know, our ladies had kicked it. They were good friends. You know, they were good friends for a minute, and fucking Nick and I were kind of like, we're at this point where we were both in pain. We were both suffering, and it was on our own hands, so to speak, right? Because we had, you know, like you had said, man, this person that you had been in this relationship, and even prior to that, was not ideal, was, you know, almost disgusting in your own eyes.
Yep.
You know, and then you lose somebody, and it's like, oh shit, here I am. You know? I was in the same boat, man. It was 2.5 years in the making. You know, one of those years, at the very least, if not, you know, 6 months or so, 6 months or more, was simply just this knowledge, just this truth, this knowing, right? That it wasn't meant to be, you know, it wasn't going to work out. We just weren't, it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Right. And we were playing this game. We were playing this runaround game where it was like, neither of us were happy. Neither of us wanted to put anything into this relationship any longer. You know, prior to that, it was fucking awesome. Right. We had opened up to each other. We had pushed the ticket. We'd pushed the boundaries. We'd opened up ourselves more and more to each other, man. And there was points in that relationship where it was like, I need you to be here. I need you to do this. Like, I need to know that you are into this, that you commit to this, that you're vulnerable with me, you know? And that was cool, man, because that, for me, was new ground. That, for me, was unknown territory, right? And I had continually pushed that line. But it just came to a point, like a lot of things do, where it was very obvious. It was blatant that like this isn't going to last much longer, right? And you know, upon talking to this woman that I cared deeply for, I realized that, you know, she was in the same boat, man. It was like, it was almost like we weren't in love, but we were super afraid to say that, right?
Yeah.
And that had dragged on for quite some time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so when I opened up this conversation, I kind of just let her know where I was at. I was, you know, I didn't know who I was anymore because I felt like I couldn't speak up. I felt like I couldn't be vulnerable. I felt like I couldn't be myself. I felt like I couldn't expose myself any longer.
Expose yourself
Expose myself.
publicly, of
Yeah.
course.
Oh, yeah. To little kids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Jesus.
You're talking to the right dude.
I love you, man. Yeah, dude. And there was this point where it's like, you know, you kind of stop and you take a look at yourself and you take a look at where you're at and where your heart is and you kind of, you know, I ask myself, like, is this really what I fucking want? Is this really what I want? Is this what I'm going for? Just this ambivalence, this free floating partnership with somebody that I, you know, don't necessarily care for, and she doesn't necessarily care for me, but on the other end, it's like we don't necessarily hate each other, right? So there's no extremes here. There's no good, there's no bad. We're not fighting. We're not really fucking anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do.
So it wasn't abrupt. It was a slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually we both just came to terms with the truth, you know? But at that point in my life, it was like I had pushed this boundary so far beyond where it's previously been that like I had like a almost identity crisis, you know?
What do you mean?
So I was questioning who I was, what I was doing with my life, and why I was doing that to an extent, right? I had already had my feet planted pretty well in my career. I'd already had my feet planted fairly well in my community, you know, like with my homies and stuff like that. But it made me question all that
Yep.
immediately, right? Walking away from this girl is simply, as simple as that sounds, just open up this void.
The
that
goddamn floodgates.
the fucking darkness. And like, dude, standing in front of that chasm, you know, imagine yourself like standing on the edge of a cliff where it's just like fucking, you shall not pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just standing on that damn bridge, dude, and like looking down at your feet and seeing nothingness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, the cool part was, you know, like we talked about, man, like there was a group of these dudes that just like they didn't let me fall. Or in other words, they let me fall, but they were there to be there when I got up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they helped me find those answers. And not only did they help me find those answers, but they helped me find a way to find those answers. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, that I consider the lighter path, like the path that we had described that was like, this is a lot more work. This is going to fucking hurt a lot more.
Yeah.
You're going to discover a lot more, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Right. And this is the ideal path. This is the path that you're taking towards, you know, who ideally you want to be to grow, to become a better man, et cetera, et cetera.
So right when that happened, right, you had this conversation. You had this, you sat down, you had this conversation with her, right? When you left, or however the situation played out, how did you feel?
I was fucking stoked. I got in my car, and I remember sitting there. I remember sitting in my car outside of her house for about 5 minutes, right? And actually, I take that back. The first 5 minutes, I was fucking devastated. I was like, what did I just do? This was a fucking bad decision, right? Like, I should have just fucking told her I'll be better. I should have told her that I'll do better. I should have told her that she means more to me. I should have lied to her, is what I was telling myself I should have done, right? Because that wasn't what I wanted to do, right? So I sat outside of her house regretting every single word that I just told her, you know, and like painfully admitting that like I had just done something that can't be undone. Right.
Right.
This 2.5 years of my fucking life is now gone. It's now in the garbage. You know?
Yeah.
And then I get a text from her that says, "Thank you. This was for the best." And immediately it changes over to that joy. I'm stoked all of a sudden, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a big ass smile on my face. I'm like, fuck yeah. That's what I needed. That's the answer I needed. That is the closure that I was looking for.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And I think I called you that night.
You did.
I called you that night. I called another buddy of mine that night, and I was fucking all smiles.
Yep.
I was like, this is what needed to happen. I'm fucking stoked to see what comes of this, right? I'm stoked to see, you know, how I'm going to grow, how I'm going to fucking, you know, this, that, and the other. And then I get home, and my roommate's car is gone. And immediately I go back into that fucking regret. Immediately I go back into that pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's
for
just
sure.
like it was this roller coaster, man. It was just like down, up, down. And it's man, I remember trying to sleep that night just thinking to myself, like, what the fuck did I do?
Yep.
I did the right thing. Oh, fuck me. No, you're good. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's just this.
Yep.
It was awful, man. For a couple days. You know?
How did you feel though? Because I understand up and down, right? What is up and down? What is that? Like, I understand, like, I did the right thing. I didn't do the right thing.
Yeah.
How did you feel, bro? An hour after this shit happened.
I felt free.
Yeah.
I felt free. But I also knew that a huge part of me was missing. And I felt
Fucking hell.
fucking incomplete.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I don't know how to describe it, man, because it was almost like I felt that incompleteness, and I felt that, you know, I had done something really not fucked up necessarily, not like malicious or anything like that, just something big. I'd done something big, right?
Yeah.
And I could imagine that had really put a dent in her life, right? Because I knew I just put a dent in my life,
Right.
right? I knew I
Yep.
had just surgically removed a giant chunk out of my identity, you know?
Yeah.
And like there was this duality going on where like I was extremely afraid of what was going to happen,
Yep.
and I was really excited at what was going to happen, right?
Right. So this is what I'm talking about, right? This is what we are talking about on this fucking podcast right now. Same situation, right? Same situation. But completely between the two of us, just the polar fucking opposite, bro.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Opposite. You know what I mean? I was broken, right? I could not catch a breath of fresh air. I couldn't fucking do it, right? And then here you sit in the exact same situation within fucking days or weeks, right? Our timelines in our lives, bro, are
Matched
fucking
up almost perfectly.
are fucking wild,
Yeah.
right? Like there's a few differences even right now, and like our timelines of like how our lives are going, but like our shit is so similar almost all the time, you know? But like this particular situation is like, this is what I'm talking about, right? Like my fucked up time in my life, like a traumatic experience in my life, is something totally fucking different than yours, bro.
Yeah.
Totally fucking different. Granted, like, you know, there's like other factors that like, you know, could be traumatizing to you, but not to me. What the fuck ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
but
yeah.
like totally fucking different. That's what this whole fucking thing is about. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not about fucking just because you're a man or a woman and you think that people will judge you for feeling like this or feeling like that, right? Like, you're not fucking alone, dude. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like-
and the cool thing is, man, is like you know this as well as I do, man. The vulnerability and just the raw fucking human emotion that was spilled out over the following weeks was the source of immense joy,
Yeah.
connection.
Yes.
You felt like, at least me, man, like I felt loved.
Yeah.
After that.
That's what I
Right.
need. That for me, right? because we were surrounded by the exact same people most of the time at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When we were going through our shit, for me, that's exactly what I needed. That's all I wanted
Yeah.
was surface level relationships.
Yeah.
'Cause that's what I felt like I've always had in my life is surface level relationships.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Someone to talk shit with, but not necessarily get real with.
Not to like, dude, it's so wild.
Dude, I'm kind of thinking now, like, the disclaimer we're gonna have to give to our guests. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, so by the way, I know you don't know me very well, but I'm gonna need you to open your fucking heart up to me.
Yeah.
Does that sound good? All
Yeah.
right, cool. Let's get at it.
That's
you know,
what-
we're only gonna show the entire world
Right.
what your greatest, deepest pain is. No big deal.
Whoever wants to listen to how fucked up your life was at some point,
Straight up.
you know? Like,
Well, and I think the following weeks are important, right? Because that's when the journey starts.
Right.
Is that acute, painful moment in your life that you go through some shit like this, right?
yes.
But I mean, and we were talking about this earlier, man, is like that's almost all you hear about is like the following weeks or
Yeah.
the following years or the aftermath, if you will.
Right.
Right? The dancing through the roses, the fucking good feelings, the motivational bullshit that's slathered all over the internet. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it's all rainbows and blowjobs, man.
Yep.
And I think what you had explained to me when you first asked me to do this was like, I want to know what happened before all that shit.
Yeah.
I want to know that painful moment,
Yeah.
you know?
That exact moment in time.
Yeah.
Right. We can, you know, there's podcasts out there like, by the way, shout out to Last Week Out for letting us use their space here
Hell yeah.
for, you know, and Slack Media for letting us, you know, helping us out with
media.
episode 0. If you guys have any podcast needs, hit up Slack Media, dude.
But really though, that Last Week Out is a dope podcast.
Dude. So like,
That's some real shit too.
that's like essentially, you know, what they do, right? It's like they try and inject positivity into the world, and they try and talk about like, you know, essentially, you know, what happened and like what things are like for you these days, you know, obviously variations of, but like what I'm trying to do here is like, I want to know in depth that very moment when your fucking world fell apart, dude.
Word.
You know, and if it fell apart multiple times, like I'd like to hear about the worst one, you know, and then we can go from there.
Hell yeah.
Because you're here right now, you know.
True.
And you seem to be doing better or worse, whatever. You know what I mean? Like maybe like we can get into that. I don't know. I don't fucking know, bro.
We might have to have a box of tissues and a therapist waiting outside the door, but
yeah. I think, man, that you know, these things are super fucking good for the world. You know what Last Week Out is doing is fucking beautiful, man.
Hell
You know,
yeah.
it's fucking great. But yeah, like it's just so fucking wild, man, that that we have this platform, right? And I think the people, and we both, you know, spoke about this just a bit. I think, man, that the people that you surround yourself with, because at the end of the day, right, sure, there's always outliers, right? Like, for example, you know, you see a guy hanging out with, you know, a group of fucking hooligans, right, in South Central LA, and then there's
shenanigans.
and like these hooligans are always going out and causing a ruckus, right? But there'll be that one dude that'll go off and you know, create a life for himself, right?
Yeah.
And do the next right thing, as opposed to all of his homies who aren't, right? And I'm not saying that either one of us have any friends that fucking don't do the right thing. That's not what I'm saying, right?
Right.
What I am saying is that we are products of our fucking environment, bro, right? And for the first time in my life to have these deep relationships, right? Like the shit that I talk with you about, Bird, and the shit that I talk with Dave about, you know, in a one-on-one setting, and everybody that we know these days, right? Everybody knows me on like an extremely intimate level, right? Intimate level with men, you know, which is so weird.
Word.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it's almost like the rest of society doesn't want you to do that.
Right.
You know, bottle
Right.
it up, man.
You know, like,
Don't let it out.
like when I feel like everything's falling apart and there's calamity on the horizon, and another dude will be down to go out and just fucking grab a coffee with me and fucking chop it up, you know?
Word.
It was like I said, man, like I'm somebody who needs more than a hug and like, hey man, I love you and I'm here for you. Call me if you
dap.
Yeah, call me if you need me.
An inspirational quote.
Right. I need more than that.
Yeah.
I need like I remember vividly, right? So for those of you guys who don't know, Slack Media's on the sticks. Say what up, Slack. Meow, 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 meow. So Dave was one of the first people besides Bird that I actually reached out to when I had to make all these changes in my life, right? And I talked to him. I didn't know him at the time. I just knew of him, right? Called him, phone call ended, got a text 20 minutes later. He was like, "Hey man, I've been through the same shit." Right? I've been through the same fucking shit. Pure agony and heartbreak, and I almost fucking got loaded over it.
I didn't answer. I sent you to to ignore for the first time. Is that what you're saying?
No,
Oh,
we
the
talked on the
truth
we
comes
talked on the
out.
phone.
Oh,
We talked
okay.
on the phone, and then he does that to me on the regular though. But we talked on the phone, and then he
Not
sent me,
today,
and then he
little
sent me
boy.
that text, you know, and fucking, I was welcomed with open arms by a fucking another dude that could relate to what the fuck I'm talking about, bro, because I need it. I need it.
Yeah.
You know, I need to be like, okay, here's what you do. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to do anything that I wouldn't do. I'm telling you to do it because it worked for me. You know?
Right on. And that's cool that you mentioned that, man, because like in somebody's time of need, right? It's almost like this fucking rain cloud, this thunderstorm is going on inside you. You
Yeah.
know? And nobody else can feel that necessarily as you know, to the magnitude that you necessarily do as an individual. But you know, in those times of need, in those times of turmoil or those times of pain and whatnot, it's cool to see people's true colors.
Yeah.
Whether that's, you know, fucking bad, scared, fight or flight, freeze, any of that stuff, man. Like people that reach out, right? Like Slack reached out and it's like, you were in pain, dude reached out. It's like, it's good to see what kind of dude that is. You know,
Rare.
It's good to see what kind of people I'm actually hanging out
Yeah.
with. I'm actually surrounding myself with. It's good to see the true colors of the people that picked me up when I fell from this.
Yeah.
You know,
I just
And that
heard.
might be
I just
too-
heard he was single and thought that there was an
Hey.
opening there. You know, maybe he could switch teams and come with me.
Little pit bull, Dave.
And if y'all haven't seen Nick, woo, killer.
Don't lick the mics.
I didn't lick the mic, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean,
Say it slower.
you know, there's so many different ways that we can go with this idea, right? That we have. Obviously, like we said at the beginning, right? This is episode 0, right? So please, you know, like whether we know you or we don't know you, please be as harsh as you want, you know, and let us know. Let us know like what you think, what we should change. Changes are already coming. We've already talked about changes on the break just from the first half of this, right? But this essentially was just us trying to introduce ourselves, man, you know, trying to let you guys get to know us and like get to know like some fucked up situations. Like, sure, man, at the end of the day, you know, we've like a couple breakups may not sound like fucking jack shit to you, right? But that's fucking okay, dude, right? Because next week we got a motherfucker coming in who has like, I don't know how many confirmed kills in Iraq, right? Who is a solid, healthy human being now, but at the time was fucked up about it.
Well, and you might get 3 more next week. We'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah.
You know?
You never fucking know. You know? You never fucking know. Because you might fucking, you know, yeah, we might want to take our lives by the time we're done. That's what we're going for here. So just a couple things about our plans for the future, I guess. I mean, we sat down this morning. What exactly did we talk about, bro? I'm fucking
Well,
all
dude,
over
we
the place.
were just talking about kind of the idea of what we wanted to do with this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, probably a week or 2 ago, we were talking about doing something, but we didn't know what we wanted to do, right? And we were sitting at, what was it, Bar Smith?
Bar Smith in Phoenix, yeah, downtown.
Kind of just chopping it up about it. And, you know, we both wanted to hear from anybody, really anybody, that just had some acutely painful, fucked up, traumatic experiences. And I mean, obviously, when you first think about something like that, man, like military comes to mind,
Right.
And if you guys check out this video that we got posted in the bio, man, or posting the link, that this guy is raw. This guy is fucking like, he's jaded, bro, and you could tell.
Yeah.
You know. But we want to hear about that kind of stuff, right? And we talk about neurosurgeon, we talk about surgeons, man. We want to hear about that moment that somebody flatlines. We want to hear about that moment that somebody goes through a traumatic experience, maybe a hate crime, or we're talking about like trial lawyers that are sitting defending known killers, right? And we want to know about that feeling that they get.
Rape victims,
whatever, what have you, man. Like if they're willing to talk about it, we're willing to listen, man. We're willing, we want you guys to fucking hear these stories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that I think that's the whole basis for this whole thing, because we could talk about the aftermath a ton, and we hear about that all the time, but we only briefly hear about a lot of these people's stories about what actually happened, what they felt, and that raw humanness that people can connect to.
Yeah.
Yep.
When there's just no turning back, like you burnt your ship, essentially.
Burn the ship.
Like you turn around, you pull up on a beach, you turn around and your ship's burnt. You have no choice.
Got no fucking choice.
No fucking choice, but to go this direction.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, I was just thinking too. There's a psychologist named Dr. Jordan Peterson. I'm sure you've heard of this guy, right?
It's great.
I don't know if I can call him out on an amateur podcast, but I want to give him a shout out, man, real quick. Cause all right, so he's a University of Toronto psychological professor, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's created a grip of content regarding abnormal psychology, regarding psychology of behavior and emotion and all this kind of stuff, and drive and motivation. And dude, he talks a lot about darkness. He talks a lot about this yin and yang effect, right? In order to really become like break through that mold from a boy to a man, from a girl to a woman, one has to tap into and embrace their darkness, their individual darkness.
Yep.
He talks a lot about this, and there's a lot of other people that do talk about this, but there's a certain element of that joy, that peace, that way you carry yourself that has just a little percentage of like, I carry that darkness around with me, that pain that this sniper must have gone through when he was first taking out his first target.
Yeah.
Right.
We're gonna get in depth about it.
Oh fuck yeah.
In depth. It's gonna be great.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be great.
I'm intrigued to see what happens, man.
Yeah.
Really am.
So I mean, yeah, if you guys, let's just say, you guys know somebody who is willing to talk about it, right? Hit me up on Facebook. Hit Bird up, Andrew Bird. That's ANDREWBIRD. Nick Mosley, NICKMOSLEY on Facebook. Hit us up on Instagram. We'll put all our shit in the description. And yeah, we would love to hear from you guys. We'd love to see what this idea can actually bloom and blossom into. And yeah, I mean.
So next week, who do we got coming up?
Next week, oh yeah. Can we cut that? I felt like that was like a really awkward 4 seconds.
Fuck it, uncut.
Just roll through it.
Okay.
Power through it.
Yeah, next week we have Josh Merritt. Like we said, we're gonna put a link to one of his videos in our description. I mean, dude, just if you guys have 3 minutes, man, it's literally like a 3 or 4 minute video, but it's got like over 1 million views, and it's literally in depth talking about his experience in a very short snippet, a very short interview, and our goal is to expand on that and dig into his head and his heart and figure out what the fuck he's been through and why exactly why he states some of these things that he states in the interview. Like he was okay with it. He was okay with it before he had, before he had ever taken his first life.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep my shit together.
I know. Me neither. Seriously, I don't fucking know. It's gonna be fucking wild.
Hell yeah.
But that's the goal. Yep. We will get back with you guys.
Oh yeah.
We will see you guys in a week or two.
Shaded Sunsets.
Shaded Sunsets 0-0 in the books. Good night.